Should you treat a new package or wait and do a test to treat? Now, that's a good question. A lot of people have different philosophies. I even have a kind of a divided opinion on this. So this is like show and tell, and then I'm going to answer your questions that you've asked me. This is Green Chair Friday Answer Day, by the way. I am sitting in a green chair, and for proof, here you go. See, green chair. Now, this is the time of the year that a lot of beekeepers will mess things up with queen cages. So I thought I'd show you the 3 major types of different queen cages that are used today, and particularly with packages of bees. You don't use queen cages when you're getting a 5-frame nucleus. Your nuke should have a queen already walking around. Anyway, so this is a probably one of the oldest ways that, and it's still in use today. It's called a Benton 3-holed queen cage. And you can see it has 3 kind of circular holes cut in it. That's why it's called a 3-hole. And the way this is traditionally used is that one of these holes is filled with queen candy, and it normally has a little piece of wax paper on top before it touches the screen, and the queen and her attendants are inside the other 2 holes, and the little worker bees, the attendants, can eat the little candy, and that helps them generate more royal jelly through their hypopharyngeal glands, and then they can feed it to the queen, who eats royal jelly. Now, she can sneak over there and have a bite of candy if she wants to, and she does sometimes. But this is confusing to beekeepers because this is like a tether. It's tethered onto it, so you can staple it onto a frame and hang it there while they release her. It's just a piece of plastic, so just think about this part. But it has a cork in it. But the confusing part is, for a lot of new beekeepers, is it has this little round cork. Do you see that? And it is pressed into a hole that's smaller than the cork. So it's hard to get out, really hard to get out. But there's one on both ends. So even though there's candy on one end, there's still going to be a cork there. And then where there's no candy, there's going to be a cork there. And so a lot of beekeepers get, they get their package, they shake the bees out, and they wonder, I know I got to take a cork out. And they get confused. And if you take the cork out, on the opposite of the candy, what you're doing is a direct release, essentially, of letting your queen out maybe a little bit too fast. And if she hasn't been in that package very long and her pheromones haven't gotten around good, they might ball her and kill her. So what we like to do is for us to only take the cork out of the candy side, and that way they can eat through the candy and it gives them more time to get used to the queen. Now in this case, this is an old one that I used years ago. And in this case, I can tell that the candy was on this side right here, and that's the plug that's taken out. Let me see if I can get this back in there. A little bit of a cork, smashing it in there. I'm going to give you a little trick on what you can do. Now you can see on this side, look how the cork is just flat against the wood. Mine's sticking out because I'm not going to stick it all the way in there. Yeah, I might. But what you're going to do, I find to be very helpful, is get a little drywall screw or a wood screw. And that's the easiest way to get the cork out. Screw it into the cork a little bit, and then pull, and it will come out pretty easily. A lot of people try to dig it out with a screwdriver and it just falls apart. But if it was me and I was making these up, I like it, and I do this in my operation. Instead of trying to get the queen, this little cork to fit flat in the hole, I just punch it in sideways like this, where it's about halfway in there. And you can see it sticking up there. Well, this is going to allow the beekeeper a chance to, kind of wiggle it out and not have to dig it out. Anyway, that's one example of a queen cage that you might get. What we use in our packages is this Jay's Bees plastic cage, and it's similar. It probably is, it's been around a while, and I think a lot of people like this one, but it has a cap on it and no cork. So this little cap here, probably decently in focus, but you can see this cap pulls off the end of this right here. And this tube right here on the end will have candy in it. So this is full of candy, and this is just in case it falls down in the package. The queen won't get out with the bees, you know, and make it hard on the beekeeper. So you get your package, you want to take the cap off, and that exposes the candy, and the bees will have time to eat through the candy. Now, if you want to, you can use this little cap and poke it in one of the top grooves up there like that, and you can use that to drive a nail in here and put it in your frame or something, and kind of extend it, or let it hang down between the center frames in your hive. So this is another example of a queen cage that you're likely to see in your packages. Now, when I'm raising queens, I don't use these types of cages. Usually I might, but the ones that I use are these. These are called a California mini cage. And these are interesting because they're kind of small. I do ship queens in these because it takes up less room in the shipping container. But you can see it has this black tube. This black tube is filled normally. It's empty now, but it's normally filled with queen candy. And you punch it in like that, and you're going to have, I put attendants in here too, even though it's smaller, and it's really nice. Now, you've seen my videos where I use this in my incubator. When I have queen cells in my incubator, I've capitalized on these little things that fit into my queen cell incubator. So I do like those. So those are the major 3 types of queen cages. Also, this is like show and tell, and then I'm going to answer your questions that you've asked me. This is Green Chair Friday Answer Day, by the way. I am sitting in a green chair, and for proof, here you go. See, green chair. A lot of you tell me that you really like my Green Chair Friday Answer Day. So show and tell too, though. Oh, speaking of green, I got a green shirt on for you. My collar crooked. And then I have, for display, look at that, a green drone comb. Those of you new to beekeeping, this is a good IPM, integrated pest management, IPM method to help control mites. And this green drone comb is green, so you can see it. It's all plastic. And look at the cells, how big they are. Let's see if I can get a camera. Yeah, you can focus on that. Look at that. See, those are larger size cells, which means they are for drones. That's right. And so the queen will lay drone unfertilized eggs. They become drones. Mites prefer drones and young drones, so they'll be going in here, and once this gets about maybe 75% capped over, you can take it out and freeze it, and you will kill most of the mites in your hive if they're drawn to that comb. So that's a good IPM method. Green drone comb, that's really good. A lot of you are going to be installing packages, maybe some nucleuses. You might want to use these too. An entrance reducer. This one has, 2 different settings? Yeah, it has the larger setting here. And so you put it, now this is real debatable, isn't it? Do you put the opening facing the bottom of the bottom board, or do you put it like this, where this is facing the, bottom of your first box? And to me, it really doesn't matter. Theory is in the wintertime, if you're using a small opening like this one here, that if you put it this way and some dead bees fall down, the bees can walk over their dead sisters and walk out this hole, where if you put it this way, dead bees may clog that during the wintertime. But I think bees are pretty good at moving things out of the way. But anyway, yeah, when you get your packages, you may want to keep your reducers on there, for a week, help them get acclimated to their new home. That's called an entrance reducer. What other toys? Look at all these toys I've got. Show and tell day. Look at this. I'm happy about this. I go through tons of these, and these are Chinese grafting tools. And I live by these. Grafting queens is so fun for me. These have a little cover, and you do your little grafting and get your one-day-old larvae on the tip of the grafting tool, and then you move it over to your plastic cup, and then you push it off by pushing the button down, and these work so good. I love these. I have so many of these, and they get old. I abuse and use these until they're just worn out. So I've got a couple new ones here to help me. Oh, this is really cool. I want to show you this. This is something you're going to be using in the spring. Some people have taken a different direction in how they use this. It's typically called a double screen board, you know, a double screen board, because you can see they got a screen on this side and it's got a screen on this side. So it's got, this one has about a 1/4 inch spacing between the two double screens. And this has actually been around for a long time. Some people always act like, you know, brand new things are coming out. Have you ever heard of this or that? This was actually created by Mr. Snellgrove a long time ago. And this is a good one. I made a whole video on this. let me leave a link at the end of this video, because I think this is a really good swarm control method to use in the spring, or if you want to raise queens or something, you can kind of manipulate your frames and hive differently. What's really cool about this is crazy. Remember, this is not new. This has been around forever. So what this has, let's see, I got to hide my eyes so you can see that there. It's never going to focus. Come on. Well, it has two doors. Still not focusing, is it? It has two doors right here. Do you see how those doors swivel out? One on the top, and it has one on the bottom. And so if you put this between, you know, boxes up here and boxes down there, you can control where your foragers are going in and out. And in my video that I'm going to show you at the end of this video, it will show you how to use this to control the swarm, make a split, raise queens or something. Now, it just doesn't have the two doors on this side. This is crazy. Look at this. How do I shut that? Other way? Okay. It has one on this side. Two doors, top and bottom. I'll get up close in a minute. And then it has two doors. So it's got two doors here on this side, two doors over here on the back side, two doors on this side for the top or bottom. And of course, this has no doors, and that's what you put on the front of your hive. Let me see if I can get those doors a little closer. I don't know why I can't focus on that. Come on. There we go. So you see how these doors swivel? Look at that. Isn't that cool? A bottom and a top, depending on where you're putting them. Let's see if I can open that one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, see that? That's kind of cool, isn't it? And so three sides has these doors on them. It's really nice. So it's called a Snellgrove. Same thing as a double screen board. Essentially used the same way. Been around forever. This is something that you're not going to need to use, hopefully not in the spring, but you need to get these, and we do sell these on our website, honeybeesonline.com. But these are Bee Smart robber screens. And they got little doors you open so your bees go in and out the top here, but the robber bees can't figure out how to get in, and they don't figure that out. And so these you need to have on hand as soon as the flow is over in your area. Like usually it's middle summer for some of you, late summer for others. So don't be without a robber screen. If your hives start getting robbed out, it's almost too late to buy one of these because it's, you know, you're behind the 8 ball. So get these on hand ahead of time. All right, look at this. You're probably going to need this sooner than the robber screen. Everybody knows what this is. It is a queen excluder. Some people call these queen extruders. That's not a word. I mean, it's a word, but it's not used in beekeeping. It's an excluder. You're excluding the queen. So brood nest down here, honey super's up here. Queen can't go through here. Her thorax is too big. Maybe her abdomen is too big. She can't make it through here. And so she's held down below. And the other bees, the worker bees, can pass through and go up above and fill it up with honey for you. So I like to put these with these cross pieces right here. You see these cross sections? I like to make them face down. Because sometimes if you get a virgin queen and you got it flipped this way, she has no crossbars, so she can kind of work her way through longer and may get through there. But anyway, I put those cross pieces down like that, and that helps a lot. Queen excluder. All right, a few more things to show you here. Look at this. This is an undrawn frame. This is an acorn foundation, double wax coated. I used these last year. I was just blown out of the water, impressed with these acorn frames. Double wax. I think you can get triple wax. And I popped them in some wood here, wood frame, so you can see how you can see the wax in there already. But you can wax some more if you want to. I've made a video on waxing your foundation before you install your package, and that's going to help them draw them out so much faster too. Less energy is going to be put into making wax when they have more there to work with. But this is my go-to method of frames. I like to use the wooden frames with the plastic foundation, a lot of coating of wax. I made a video, the red wax video. It became very popular on YouTube here. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll try to leave a link somewhere, but you really need to watch the red wax experiment that I did, showing that bees really do use wax that you give them to help draw out that comb. Now this is confusing. What do you think this is? I showed you a queen excluder, and this looks like a queen excluder, but the way that you can tell it's not is because it has more thicker cross pieces to it. Now this is not a queen excluder. This is a propolis trap. It traps propolis. How it works is you put it on the top of your hive, kind of like after the flow, usually late summer, early fall, when they're trying to propolize stuff. And I like to crack open the top of my hive a little bit, the top cover, so they see a little bit of daylight. That frustrates them. They want to propolize that shut. And then they add propolis to all of these little holes here. And then you put it in your freezer, let it freeze, and then you can do like this. It's real flexible, and you can crack away. All the propolis will fall out on the table, and then you can take the propolis and use it or sell it. There are people that love to buy propolis. So there's a few things that some of you may have not seen before, especially if you're new to beekeeping. And some of these things I showed you today will answer a few of these questions. So let's get started on the questions today. Mark says, I purchased your queen rearing course. What do I do with the bees and the starter hive after I'm done rearing queens? Thanks, Mark, for purchasing my online queen rearing course. Glad to see you tackling queen rearing. Hope so many of you will learn to raise your own queens. It gives you such a leverage in beekeeping, and it's not that hard once you get the hang of it. Yeah, Mark, so what you're asking, once you have these starter nukes going, you're starting your hives, queens with these little starter hives, usually a 5-frame nucleus, and you got, nurse bees in there, and you've sold your queen or used her somewhere else. What do you do now with this box? Well, you can continue to use it as a mating nuke by letting it just have bees in there and brood, and keep introducing. After you get one queen out, introduce another queen cell, let her emerge into that hive, and then she can get mated, so you can cycle your queen cells in there. So put a queen cell in, she emerges, takes a mating flight, gets mated, comes back, lays brood. You check the brood, passes your inspection of a good laying queen, and then you can sell her, use her somewhere else. Off she goes, wait a day, introduce another cell. Or if you just don't want to do that, you're done. You can actually just shake those bees into another hive, those younger bees, or move those frames over to a weaker colony. So pretty easy to do. A lot of manipulations that you can do. Any recommendations on what foundation to buy and where? Yeah, I just showed you. I like buying Acorn frames. This is not a paid promotion. They're not paying me to say this. I'd probably take their money. I don't know. But, oh no, I just really, I tell you guys, if I see something I really like, I'm going to tell you. I really like the Acorn frame foundation. I think they're great. And they coat it really good with wax. I made a video last summer how fast my bees drew that out. So I'm a believer. That's the only thing I'm going to use now is the Acorn foundation like that. Double or triple wax coated for sure. That helps a lot. So that's my go-to. My way is not the highway. Some of you are all wax foundation people. I used to be that way. That's all there was when I started. But now I've used plastic for a couple of decades now and really love it. So, yep, that's the answer to your question. Where to buy it? Just Google it. You'll find a place to buy it from. All right, Diane, can drawn comb be too dry? Diane, that is a really good question, because I know what you mean. Some of my comb gets really dry if I'm storing it somewhere, out here in one of the buildings, and there's no bees on it for a while. It's been in storage for 3 or 4 years. It gets really, really brittle and dry, doesn't it? I don't worry about it. If I need to use it, I'll throw it in a hive or Diane, one of the things you can do is scrape it off. If it's just so dry, scrape it. If it hasn't been used for brood, like for brood, then you can scrape it off, melt it down, and use it to coat more frames. It will melt down even though it's dry. The reason why you don't want to really use brood comb for foundation or recoating your frames is because it got a lot of cocoons in it from the different generations of bees. And when you start melting it down, there's a lot of gunk that you're going to be frustrated with, where wax cappings off your honey supers, and they just don't have that. Good question. Should you treat a new package or wait and do a test to treat? Now, that's a good question. A lot of people have different philosophies. I even have a kind of a divided opinion on this. 49% of me says that you should treat immediately before they get any brood going, especially if you're using something that doesn't kill mites below the cap brood. The bees are broodless, so there are some treatments like oxalic acid that works well in that situation. And then there's, what does that leave? 51% of me. 51% of me feels that I don't like to treat a new package because I'm trying to get them not to abscond. That's when they all leave. I don't want to scare them off by dumping acid on them too soon. So I'm kind of torn. I'm on the fence. Either way is going to work probably pretty good for you. It's not a bad idea, but I will usually wait personally. I'll wait about a couple of weeks to make sure that there's some good eggs being laid. They're not going to leave, and then I can do a test and treat. You know, a package has 10,000 bees. You're going to lose a couple, 300 the first week from aging out. It doesn't really hurt too bad to take 300 and test them. You'll still be pretty good at numbers. Yeah. Hey, Mike, I'm in Western Kentucky. Let's see. Yeah, Western Kentucky. All right. My sister lives in Western Tennessee, probably close to you. My sister lives in Martin, Tennessee. Anyway, I still have my candy board on. Should I remove it now and switch to sugar water and not put sugar water on? Oh, I don't know. I bet you have a lot of flowers blooming. I know you do in Kentucky. You're good to take the winter bee kind off. If you've got pollen coming in, you see a lot of flowers in your area, Mike, no need to feed them. If you got dandelions, feeding is over. Yeah, don't worry about it. Brittany's Botanical Bling. I picked up my first package of bees. Oh, you pick them up next Wednesday. All right. Overnight temps for a couple of nights after I pick them up will be in the 30s Fahrenheit. Anything special I need to do once they're installed? A lot of nervous beekeepers get their packages and it turns cold. It's kind of like, oh, it was so nice and warm, and then I got my packages and it turned cold and snowed. What do I do? Are my bees going to die? It's not good for bees, but they're probably going to be okay. 30 isn't bad. If you get too far below freezing and they're small and they're on undrawn, this is called undrawn foundation, there's nowhere for them to stick their little heads in and get warm or eat and get warm. And so you can see why it's hard on new packages. But I don't know. I think you're going to be okay if it's just dipping in the 30s, probably warming up pretty good in the daytime. But it does make for some challenges. It's hard to feed them if it doesn't get real warm. Let's see, how warm is it going to get? Did you say? Cold at night in the 30s. So yeah, if it warms up 50 or 60 and they fly in the daytime, they'll get some food. I don't know, anything special to do? Feed them. That'll help them get warm. Everybody gets warmer when you eat. Feed them from the top is going to be great. Use our Burns feeder board. I'll leave a link to this in the description. This feeder board is great for feeding packages because even though it gets really cold, you can put your jars up here and it's above the cluster. The cluster can still get fed. So that's going to be really good too. Yep. All right. Kathy, how are you? Northeast Ohio. Very good. I got my start in beekeeping in Ohio. They are bringing in a lot of pollen. Oh, that's good to hear. A few hives are not the strongest. The winter patties have been eaten. Do I give them more winter patties or just give them a little bit of pollen patty? You know, Kathy, it sounds like if they're bringing in pollen, I don't know if I'd worry about it. I like it when bees are able to eat their own good food off of nature, right? So if nature is working and you're getting pollen in the front door, let's go with that. Don't worry about feeding them pollen as long as they're bringing some in. Kind of feel good about that. Yeah, you might feed them sugar water with our additives in it. That might help a little bit too. All right, a couple of more questions. These questions are left over from my live stream last night. If you haven't heard about my live stream, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, hundreds of beekeepers. We usually have 600, 700, 800 beekeepers. That's a huge, loyal group of beekeepers that gather every Thursday night. We have fun, we have camaraderie. Spin the Wheel has a bunch of fun things that we do on the live stream. It's only 59 minutes of me answering your questions. I always have a little teaching that I give on bees. Check that out if you haven't been here. But these are left over. Some of you didn't get your question answered during the live stream. We can only do so much. All right. Any difference in the quality of bees from California versus Georgia bees being made into packages for sale? A lot of people are going to say absolutely. Some people are going to say no, doesn't make any difference at all. I kind of lean toward doesn't make much difference. Yeah. And the reason why I've heard this, I kind of don't like it. I kind of understand where it's coming from. Maybe I shouldn't say I don't like it. Maybe I should say I'm not sure if I totally agree. But some people say California bees are dirty. They're dirty bees because they're out there with millions of other bees pollinating almonds from all over the U.S. and all the diseases and chemicals and yuck are out there. All the bees are out there sliming around in all the yucky bee stuff. I don't know. I kind of don't feel that strong about that, or if that is maybe totally accurate. But Georgia bees, a lot of packages are from Georgia, Florida, the southwest, or the way west, I guess. And so I don't think there's a big difference. The trick to this, the trick in finding a good package provider is to buy a package and see how it goes, right? So, and you really don't know if like a lot of people might think that because their bees didn't make it through the winter, that they are going to try a different package bee provider. You can't jump to that conclusion because you don't know if it was a mistake that you made as a beekeeper. Maybe you didn't treat for mites as much as you should have. Maybe you failed to feed them. Maybe you lost the queen, didn't know it, and they got low on numbers. So it's hard to, if you get a package of bees, 10,000 Apis mellifera bees, and a good queen, and you can see she's laying good a week after you buy the package, it's a good package. It really is. What happens after that, I really feel is the beekeeper's responsibility, because a queen can fail, even though the packaged bee provider had nothing to do with that. A queen can run out of sperm. A queen can, just die of natural causes. She can be superseded for no reason. It really isn't reflected on the producer. Is the way I feel about it. So we do have to do our part. So I don't think it matters. But anyway, if you get it a good package, you liked how they worked out good, they took care of it. If there was any problems, they owned up and made it right. That's the people to stick with. All right. Last question, Nicholas. Hi, David. Can you do a walkaway split and check for eggs later to see which one of the queen is in and add a purchase queen to the queenless colony, or is it too late to add a queen? It's a very good question, Nicholas. I like what you're saying. Yes. Here's what you need to do, okay? If you make a walkaway split, by the way, that's just walking away with essentially half or a little bit of the colony, walking away with a big, strong overwinter colony to make a split. And you don't really care where the queen is as long as you have eggs in both. Now, in Nicholas's question, he's wondering if you make this split and you find out that maybe the one that is still back here that you didn't walk away with, they don't have a queen because you walked away with their queen. Can you then add a queen to this hive back here? Yeah, you can. Now, the problem is if you wait too long, Nicholas, they're already in the motion. They got one in the oven. They're cooking a queen, okay? And so if you try to add another one and that one's pretty far along, they're not going to take your foreign new queen that you introduce. So I would recommend do a walkaway split, and I would wait about 3 days, not more than 3 days. And I would look and see which one doesn't have the queen. And if you want to buy a queen, that would be the time to put it in pretty quick. Ideally, The best way to get over all this is do an inspection, find the queen, know which box she's in, and then have a queen on hand that you bought that's mated, and keep her behind the candy in her cage. Don't do a direct release, but then you can drop that cage in the box that doesn't have the queen in it, the hive that doesn't have a queen. So that would be the best way to do it. Now, I like the Snow Grove board. It has a lot of options. It's also known as a double screen board. Double screen boards nowadays are a little bit different. They don't have all the doors on them. They have some, but not all this a Snow Grove board does. But anyway, a Snow Grove board, I'm going to show you a video right here, and I'm going to let you know how to use the Snow Grove board, maybe to help you control some swarms this spring. Check it out right here. I'll see you guys over there.